Okay, all right. Once again, thank you everyone for joining. Let me share my screen. Today is going to be like a really hands-on session. Like I said last week, we introduced Microsoft 365, the licensing processes and all of that, how to set up the Microsoft 365 environment and all of that. So today we are going to now look at how you can, create users, manage your environment, manage users, manage groups, set up your domain, your custom domain name, and not just to do it using the regular admin center. Everyone, once you have the right steps, you can easily just add users, delete, assign licenses to such users or take them out and so on and so forth. But also how to carry out this activity using PowerShell scripts, right? Some of us, when you hear PowerShell scripts, you are like, okay, does that have to do with coding or what have you? Do I need to learn some long lines of codes and all of that? No, you do not need to, right? The key thing in PowerShell script is actually having the right resources, right? So most often you would find resources online in Microsoft doc sites where you can get instructions on how to connect to the Microsoft 365 module using PowerShell and all of that. But if you do not have the prior knowledge, right, that foundation, the right foundation, basically, you can get really confused. So today's class is to get us familiar with the idea. We would actually work on one or two scripts, and then we would just look at how to manage our environment together. So I'll go ahead to share my screen. Please let me know when you can see it. Okay, you should be seeing my screen now. So like I said, the agenda for today, right, we are looking at an overview of the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We will be completing our tenant setup. Last week we looked at how you can sign up for a trial environment, and then a quick introduction to what is actually covered, or the apps within Microsoft 365, right? So we'll be looking at how you can complete your tenant setup, getting a better understanding of the onmicrosoft.com domain. If you remember, last week we spoke about the onmicrosoft.com domain, that's the default domain when you are setting up a tenant. Each tenant, when I say tenants, I'm referring to like companies, or maybe you are signing up for Microsoft 365 for your own personal use. So each tenant or each company or each home account has their own unique tenant ID, or sorry, unique domain, right? And that domain is tied to .onmicrosoft.com, right? So that particular unique domain cannot be changed at any point during your subscription to the Microsoft 365 service, right? But you can always set up other custom domains so that you are able to send your email as one at Textiles, or maybe next year we decide to change our name and we're calling it stylish IT pros, right? stylishitpros.com, even though that's really long, right? But we can choose to change our domain name to whatever we want at the end of the day, but we will always have that unique tenant domain name, right? So, and then we'll look at how we can manage the Microsoft 365 user accounts, licenses, groups with PowerShell, and then how you can assign licenses or take them out and all of that, or turn on or off certain services for users, and then looking at Microsoft 365 groups. Then we'll also look at admin permissions, right? So what can a normal user do? What can a normal user access, right? And then what can a global admin access? What can a Teams admin access, and all of that? So we'll just get started. I will come back to the slide. So for now, I'll just go straight into my admin center. So yes, this is the Microsoft 365 admin center. If you remember, how we got here was, first of all, you have to log in. So portal.office.com, right? So from portal.office.com, you can now select any area you want to get into. Maybe you want to view your emails, you want to chat with your colleagues and what have you, right? So this is portal.office.com. I want to open the admin center and I'm an administrator, right? Only admins can see the admin icon in a Microsoft 365 environment. So if you're an admin, once you set up your tenants, right, once you set up your trial environment, you will definitely get access to all this plus the admin icon. So when I click on admin, it brings me over here to the admin portal. Now, from here, if I wanted to create a new user, right, for example, you can see by the left-hand side, I just have the users area. I can create a new team group. I can create different roles, assign roles to users and all of that, right? So, but first of all, we'll look at, okay, how do we complete setting up our environment? So now we signed up for our tenant, or sorry, for the trial subscription. I have a custom domain I want to set up, right? How do I go about doing that? So first of all, you click on settings right here. By the left-hand side, you click on settings and then you can see domains. So now when you click on domains, the tenant I'm signed into, yes, it's a trial environment, right? So you can see that my domain name is really long and it's not even custom at all. This was what was just assigned to me by default by Microsoft, right? M365 blah 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 dot on Microsoft.com. Now this particular domain, there is no way I can't delete it, right? It will always be here, but I can add other domains to my environment. Now I want to, right now, when I try to send out emails, the emails always appear to be from this account. And you can imagine this is really long. So anybody saying it to be like, I don't think this is a professional, I don't think this person is a professional, or I don't think this is an authentic email or something like that, right? So I want to send out emails from my professional or from my company basically, and I want it to make it to look like really it's coming from my company. So I need to add my company's domain name. So all I need to do is to click on add domain. Now, before you do this, you must have already purchased the domain, right? You can purchase a new domain either from GoDaddy or from Google Host, any particular domain administration site, right? So you can purchase your domain from any of these platforms. And once you've purchased your domain, or you can even have, maybe you have someone who helps you manage domains for your organization or what have you, right? So they will just share the DNS details. That's basically the administration details with you, so that if you need to make any changes, you can easily do that. Okay, let me show you a site where you can get domains from here in Nigeria, googlehost.com, right? So from googlehost.com, you can search for your domain name. Maybe you wanted to create a new domain that says she codes. No, I think she codes already exists, but yeah, basically, right? Maybe she codes Nigeria.com, or whatever the domain name really is, right? You can search to see if it is available first, and then you can actually go ahead to purchase it. So once you've purchased your domain from here, then, okay, let me see. She codes ng.com. Let's see if that's available. So I entered that domain name and then I clicked on search. So I want to see if that domain is available. It's loading. Awesome. So shecodes.ng.com is available and it goes for 5,700 naira, right? If you're purchasing from another site that is not a Nigerian owned site, it will probably give you the bill in dollars or in euros or what have you, right? You can always set that up. So, but basically, right, this is available. So I can click on add to cart and I'll go ahead to purchase the domain, right? So it can be really straightforward, basically. So once you have the domain name, you can now come back to the add domain under Microsoft 365, right? So let's assume that I already purchased I already purchased this domain that says, oh, shecodesng.com, right? So all I need to do now that I've entered it in there, I will now click on use this domain. So the next steps, the system is going to ask me to verify that I actually own the domain, right? And the best way for it to get that verification is for me to either, so there are three options. I can verify ownership of my domain by adding a TXT record to my domain's DNS records, or I can add an MX record, or I can add a text file to the domain's website. So these are the three methods that you can use to verify your domain ownership, right? This question usually even comes up when you're writing the certification exam for the I think MS 900 or what have you, right? So certification exams regarding this line, basically you get asked, oh, okay, what are the three different options that you can use, right, to verify your domain ownership? So um once you decide, okay, maybe I want to add a text record, right, a TXT record to my domain's DNS, I'll click on continue. The system is going to provide the record to me, and all I need to do now, so this is the record, right? All I need to do now is, in this case, we are assuming that I already purchased the domain, right? So I'll just log into Google Host, which is where I purchased the domain from, or GoDaddy, or what have you, right? I'll log into my account in there, and then I would enter this particular text value, and it can propagate in the next, sometimes changes like this can propagate in like 10 minutes, at most it's maybe 24 hours, or worst case scenario 72 hours, right? But basically most times it happens really quickly, right? So basically once it propagates, you come back here and then you click on verify. You only click on verify when you have confirmed that you've put in this record in your Google Host or GoDaddy portal, right? So once you've entered it, you come here, click on verify, and if it has propagated, the system is going to recognize that, oh yes, this user actually entered this text value and this domain belongs to them, right? So when that happens, the next step is now for you'll be provided even more records to update. Records like the MX record. So MX is mail exchanger record, right? So that is the record that is responsible for accepting emails on behalf of your domain. So without the MX record, users, maybe you've entered so right now it's put in shecodesng.com as a domain here, but it's saying that it's incomplete. So incomplete setup, meaning I can't use this domain yet until I complete the setup, right? So yes, I was saying, um, unless you enter all the details, unless you properly set up your domain, right, you cannot receive emails using that domain name. So people try to send me an email now. I've advertised that, oh yes, my company name is, she codes Nigeria and what have you. You can reach out to us at info@shecodesng.com or what have you, right? Anyone that tries to send me an email to that address, it will bounce back because there is nothing accepting that email on behalf of my domain, right? So basically, the system, once you enter that TXT, the initial TXT record, it will ask you for a mail exchanger record to update that, which is really straightforward also. The same way that we're provided the TXT record, the system is going to provide you the other records that you need to enter. So once they propagate, you'll be able to send and receive emails as required. Right. So, and you can, like I said, you can have as many custom domains in here as possible, so long as you own them, right? So, and if you want to take out any domain, all you need to do is to select it, and then you can click on remove domain, right? You can even buy a domain directly from the Microsoft 365 platform, right? You can easily buy right from here, though you would need to pay with, like, it would be a dollar payment and what have you, right? Unlike if you're trying to purchase, you're in Nigeria and you have a Naira card and all of that. So you can easily purchase from here. But if you wanted to remove this domain, you just need to click on remove. Now, do you see the difference here? I can remove this domain, but I cannot remove the custom domain. right, which is the one that has the dot on Microsoft.com. It doesn't give me that option to take it out because this domain is always going to be tied to my tenant, right? This is like the identifier for my environment. So yes, that's how we add domains in the environment. Now you can view organization settings in here. Maybe you need to make some changes. You need to look at your organization profile. Set a custom theme for your organization. See where Microsoft is currently storing your data. Set up your customize your app launcher tiles and all of that. You can do all of that from here. And then if you even had a relationship with a Microsoft partner, right? You want to get tied to a particular Microsoft partner, you can do that easily from this partner relationships section. But I think for the sake of this class, this is not so important. Then from the setup area, as an administrator, the system basically would be trying to ask you, okay, do you want to migrate data, right, from a particular, maybe you are moving from, maybe all your emails have been in another email server, like for example, Gmail, right? Your company emails have been in Gmail. You are trying to migrate to Microsoft 365. So in this setup area, the system will basically try to walk you through the sort of things that you need to do, how you can go about carrying out your data migration and all of that, trying to walk you through all those steps. And then you can even set up policies like set your password to never expire, right? Limit admins to the access they need and all of that. Let users reset their own password, set up password reset, right? Enable password reset for users. So you can do all of that from here. You can find quick steps to do all of that from here. Now, to create a new user, which is like the most basic thing in the admin center, you need to come over to users and then click on active users. So under active users, you get to see all the users in your environment. This is a trial account, and the trial account came with all these test users. So most of them I do not even actually know. These are like dummy users, so I do not know any of them, right? It just came with the tenants basically. So to create a new user, all I need to do now is to click on add a user. And then I can enter the user's first name, last name, display name, username, and also even create a password, right? An initial password, which I can require the user to change when they first sign in. So this is where your admin comes to get all of that done, right? This is where they come to create your user account when you just join an organization. So let me create a new user. I will call this user, let me call this user Joseph. Display name has entered automatically. So I can say maybe the naming style in our organization is first name, last name, initials, right? At then the domain name. So if I had multiple domain names, I'll just click on this arrow here and then I can select any of the domains I want to create the user under. Then you can set to automatically create a password by just clicking on this automatically create password, or you can create a custom password, right? So take for example, we just want to create the password and then want it to the initial password to be on Microsoft 2021, right? So I enter on Microsoft 2021 and then I check this box that says require this user to change their password when they first sign in. So what this means is sorry, can you mute your mic please? Can we check that our mics are muted? Thank you. So what this means is at the end of when I'm done creating the user account, right? When I'm done creating the user account, I'm going to share the email address and the password with the user. And when they try to log in using that email address and password, when they enter the initial password, they will now be asked to set a new password, right? So, and then I can select this box that says send password in email upon completion, right? So in case I forget, let the system send me an email that has the password, right? So I can easily just forward to the user. And then I click on next. Now, the next thing is for me to assign a product license to that user, right? Like I said earlier, Microsoft 365 has different licenses. So you can be creating a user now, and you only want the user to be able to send and receive emails. That's all, right? There's a plan for that. You are creating a user. You only want to give them access to even Windows 10 activation, right? For them to only be able to activate Windows 10 on their devices. There is a license for that. So different licenses, different users, and what have you. So now I'm trying to create this user called JP, and then I want to assign a product license to the user. These are the different product licenses that my company has subscribed to, or that I have set up a trial for, right? So I can select any of these. So let's say I pick this Office 365 F3 plan. No, let me pick this Windows 10 Enterprise. Yeah, so I select Windows 10 Enterprise E3, and I can click on next. But notice this other option under here. It says create user without product license. So it's possible in Microsoft 365, it is possible for you to create a user and the user will not have any license attached to it. So what this means is that the account exists in your environment, right? This person is registered as a user, but they cannot send or receive emails. They cannot enjoy any of the services on the Microsoft 365 platform, right? However, if you create such a user, for example, I want to create an account and name it admin at shecodes.com, right? Admin at shecodes.com. Now, I'm creating that account. I do not want to assign a license to that user. I do not require that the admin should be able to send or receive emails or what have you. The only reason why I'm creating that account is I want that account to be able to manage the environment. So whoever has that account can log in, can create new users, can reset user passwords and all of that. It's possible to do that, right? So to do that, all you need to do is you can just create the user without product license. However, you will now make them an administrator in the environment, right? So that way they can log in, but all they can see is the admin center and they can manage users as you have assigned to them. However, they can't send emails, they can't join meetings or what have you because you have not yet assigned any license to them. Now, when you select a particular license for a user, underneath you would see apps. So under apps, you get to see the type of apps that user has access to because of the license you have given them. So each license, of course, like I said earlier, gives users access to different types of applications. So coming down here, you get to see which app the user can access, right, going forward. Now, let's assume that, let me change this license type. Most of the ones I want to use, I'm seeing that I've run out of licenses for them. Aha. So did you see I changed the license type to F3 and automatically the number of apps increased. It's now 25. Before it was 3. And that's because it was a different license I selected, right? So now it's 25. So meaning any user I assign that F3 plan has access to all these services. So common data service for Teams, Exchange Online kiosk, and so on and so forth, right? Most of this we'll get to know more about them as our training sessions advance. So I can decide that, okay, even though I'm assigning this license to this user, I do not want them to be able to access Microsoft Forms, right? Their job role does not require that they use Microsoft Forms. So I would deselect Microsoft Forms. Automatically, when this user tries to open Microsoft Forms, it would return an error that they do not have access to it, right? And they can reach out to their admin that, oh, why can't I access this? Maybe their job role now requires that they use Microsoft Forms. Then you can come back and select Microsoft Forms. Otherwise, you can uncheck it. Or maybe I want to, oh, Microsoft Planner, this helps users to, set tasks and, meet targets and all of that. I can decide to uncheck this and say, no, this user should not have access to Microsoft Planner, right? And going forward, the user can sign in, they can send emails, they can receive emails. But if they try to access the Microsoft Planner application, it will return an error to them, right? So I can even say, oh, Microsoft Teams. Maybe there is now a new policy in the organization. Some organizations are really strict, so they do not, maybe for certain levels of staff, they do not allow chat. Like, oh, okay, you're saying you're using your company laptop to chat with your colleagues, or they just feel like, oh, people are not productive when they are doing all of that. Although I beg to differ, because I feel that, with chat you can even get a lot done, and applications like Microsoft Teams should not be restricted in that way, right? But some companies are really strict like that. So they would give that policy, oh, IT, I want you to disable Teams for people in the finance department, right? So this is where you will go to. Under maybe when you are creating the user, you can by default always disable Microsoft Teams, right? For all users in that finance department. This is how you get it done. I'll show us how to do that when you already have a user created. So for accounts that are already created, how can you get that done? I'll show us how to do that. So let's assume now, okay, yes, I've unchecked all of this. All the other apps look fine. There's no company policy that is against the user taking advantage of any of those apps. So if I'm fine with that, I'll click on next, right? But please let me change this license. I don't want to use my F3 plan yet. So I'll click on next. Now, optional settings. Under here, you can choose what role you want to assign to your user. So this is where you determine if your user will just be a normal user that has no admin access. So the user can send emails, receive emails, chat on Teams and all of that, but they cannot manage the environment. They don't have access to the admin center. This is where you set that up. Or if you want to give them admin rights, so you now click on that first option and select admin center access. Now under here, you can now pick any of the rights or any of the admin options that you want to assign to the user. This is also another question that comes up when writing the certification exam, right? So they can ask you, oh, what can an exchange administrator do? Or you have someone joining the organization, and you want them to only be able to manage users' mailboxes, in the sense that they can set up in place archive, they can check if if the user has exceeded their mailbox space, they can set retention holds on a user account, things that have to do with the user's mailbox, basically. Now, what admin rights should you grant to them? Right? So you see different options: global administrator, Teams administrator, user administrator, and so on and so on and so forth. And then the correct answer is exchange administrator, because like I said last week, Exchange is basically the platform that deals with the emails of users within the Microsoft 365 environment. Exchange is one of the core services within Microsoft 365, because of course, that's where email is like the lifeblood of an organization, of most organizations, basically. So any user that has the Exchange administrator permission can even carry out an email log search, right? So they want to see, oh, user said they've sent out email, but the recipient said they haven't received it. So how do you confirm? How do you check within the environment, and so on and so forth? An Exchange administrator can do that. A global administrator, just as the name says, global, they can do everything, right? They can create users, delete users, create groups, manage emails, manage teams, and all of that. Global reader have access, but they cannot make changes. And you can even click on the eye. Yeah, you can click on the eye icon to see what each of these roles, what access they have, right? User administrators can create users, can reset user passwords, and all of that. So depending on the type of user you are creating and their job role, right, you can now select a permission, an admin permission here, right? So now, review and finish. I can review my information, see, okay, yes, this is the user's name, this is the password. I set up a custom password. It will show us at the end when we click on finish adding. Product licenses, I can see the license I assigned, I can see the apps and all of that, and then the role. And once you're done, you click on finish adding. So when you finish adding, it will give you like yet again a brief history of everything you've done. So at that point, you can copy the user's email address and the new password and share it with the user as required. Sorry, I'm not saving this, so let me just close that. So yes, so that's how that works, right? If I wanted to, I mentioned that I'll show you how maybe there's an existing user and I want to remove the license. I want to remove a particular app, access to a particular app from their account. So how do I get that done? You can search for the user here, or you click on the user's name. So let's say I want to edit settings for Caleb. I select Caleb. Yeah, then I come over to licensing and apps. Now I can see the licenses Caleb has. From here, you can also see that it's possible for you to assign more than one license to each user. You can assign all your licenses to one user, right? For and then the apps, you can deselect any app that you now want to restrict their access to as required. And once you're done, you click on save changes. Then it's possible for you to, when you select a user, you can reset their password, you can block sign in. So this applies when a user is leaving the organization and you don't want them to be able to access the environment again after a particular time, right? So when that time comes up, you can just block sign in. So even if you didn't reset their password, right, they will not be able to log in on any platform to the Microsoft 365 account. And then you can delete a user, worst case scenario, right? Maybe you've backed up the data already. The user is no longer, the user account no longer needs to be in there. Sorry, I mistakenly clicked on delete user. So you can easily delete the user account as required. Then under here, you can see account settings. So username, last sign in, sign out. You can sign the user out of all their active Office 365 sessions. So this applies in maybe your user reaches out to you that, oh, my phone has been hijacked, or phone has been lost or something like that, and someone is using my account to send out emails, or basically the phone is no longer with the user. Now they don't want whoever has gotten access, illegal access to the device, to be able to read confidential company emails or access documents. So you can, as an administrator, you can just come in here and then sign the user out of all active sessions. Then you can review the groups that the user is a member of. You can manage groups from here. You can add the user to more groups. We will discuss that in length soon. And then you can add the user to a particular, give the user an administrator access, and also specify who the user's manager is from here. Now, it's also possible for you to create alias accounts. So take, for example, Caleb is a guy. Let's look for a lady. Let's say Joni. Yeah, so Joni Sherman, she has been with the company for a while, and then Joni gets married. She decides to change her name, right? So what happens? Are we going to say, oh, Joni, you're on your own. We can't change your name, right? You always bear Joni Sherman. Of course not. So to change the user's name, right, account detail, basically you come down to contact information and then select manage contact information. So this is just to change the name. We will still change the user's email address, right? So first name is Joni, last name has changed. So let's say her last name is now, she married a Delta man, so her last name is now Okolo. Yeah, so Joni Okolo, job title, every other thing remains the same, right? So I just go ahead and say save changes. So now Joni's name has changed. Now I can also change her email address. So to do this, I come over to aliases. So under aliases, you can see manage username and email. So click on manage username and email. So currently, Joni's primary email address says Joni S, right? So S stands for her former surname. Now her surname has changed. So how do we change that? So all you need to do, first of all, there has to always be a primary email address. That's why you don't see a delete option here. So first of all, you need to add her new name. You need to add her new name as an alias to our account. An alias address is basically an alternative email address where you can be reached. So for example, you can send me an email as onei@textilers.com. You can also, if you send an email to oneidowu@textilers.com, I will still get that email, right? Or you send it to, I can have multiple names, but it's one account. I don't have different mailboxes for that one account. It's still all my emails are dropping in one mailbox, but I have different email addresses that you can choose to send to, right? So I can set this up, Joni O, right? Capital J. So Joni O at this is the domain name, and then I select add. Now I have added this new alias, but this is her new name, meaning this is supposed to be her primary email address going forward. So how do I change that? By the right hand side, there's a triple dot that says more action. So I can select that and then now select change to primary email, right? Or delete. So maybe I made a mistake. I can delete the alias so I can change this to the primary email. So how this helps is that, let me select this. So how this helps now, going forward, users would be notified that, oh, my name has changed. You can reach me on this. But what if somebody did not get her notice and they want to still send, they want to continue sending her mails using her old name? Does that mean that the email will not drop? Of course it will. The mail will still drop, because see what just happened. When we made Joni O the new primary email address, it automatically made Joni S an alias. So meaning anyone that continues to send her an email using the old email address, the emails will still drop in her mailbox and she can still respond to them. So that's an, sorry? Okay, I thought I heard someone. Okay, yes. So that's an easy way that you can, that's basically the way you can, manage users, their names, their email addresses on the Microsoft 365 platform. And everything that you do here is feeding back to, because of course, Microsoft 365 is sitting on Azure, right? So it's feeding back to the Azure Active Directory, basically. So if you go to Azure Active Directory portal, everything you see here, you would still see in there. Now, right from here too, you can view the devices that a user has enrolled in Intune, or that the user has installed of Office 365 applications on. So, last week we mentioned that a user can, if the user has the proper license, a user can install Office 365 apps on up to 5 devices, right? So assuming Joni had set up Office 365 on like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 devices, we would see them listed here. And you can decide to remove access to any of them. Maybe Joni reaches out that, oh, this particular laptop was stolen, or I forgot it in a train and I can't access it any longer. I went back and no one can find it, blah, blah, blah. Just a long story and all of that. You can take out access to that device from here, giving Joni access to now install Office 365 on another system. Then from here that says mail, you can view the mailbox permissions, email forwarding, and all of that. This is like another area on its own. So we're going to have like an actual class on how to manage like the exchange section within Microsoft 365. So I won't dwell on this. So yes, that's how you can easily set up or manage a user's account. Now, we only looked at how you can add a single user. What if I'm the new administrator in, a multinational company, and then we have over 1,000 users, and we just employed another 50 or another 100 users, and I've been tasked to create user accounts for them. Does that mean I need to now start adding them one after the other? No, you do not. Now, to add multiple users, all you need to do is to click on add user. Oh, sorry. Oh, click on add multiple users over here. So not add users, sorry, add multiple users. So you select add multiple users, and then you would get access to, so you can create multiple users at once, right? So how you do this is there would be the maximum number of users you can create per file is 249 users. You can create 249 users at once, right? How you do this is you first of all download a CSV file from this Microsoft 365 dashboard, right? So a CSV file is like in Excel, it's like an Excel document or sheet. So you download that file, you input the details of the new users, and then you upload it back to the system. So let me show you. So you can see two options here. One says download a blank CSV file with required headers. Another one says download a CSV file that includes example user information. For new users, I usually advise that you select this option that includes user information, so that you would see how it works. You would see how you're supposed to what you're supposed to do. So now I've downloaded the CSV, so I'll select open. The file is opening up. Now, while that is opening, let me mention this. So these are some common errors when working with CSV files, when trying to upload multiple users. One of them is, of course, like I said earlier, you can only upload up to 249 users per CSV file. Each user must have a unique email address. You cannot have multiple users using the same email address. Email addresses may only use letters, numbers, and the following special characters. And you cannot start an email address with a special character. You start with either a number or a letter, basically. Then email address can't begin or end with the period sign. That's the full stop, basically. Then and all of this. So these are like some common errors that you need to avoid, right, when creating users or when trying to upload multiple users at once. So now this is my Excel. This is the CSV file that we downloaded. Aha. So you can see we have username, we have first name, last name, display name, job title, and so on and so forth, right? So now you can now fill the information of all the users that you want to upload. For example, I downloaded the option that has test sample data, right? So that's why it's giving me this, so that I will even know, oh, what's expected of me, right? So you can now enter, take for example, okay, I want to create this user, what, okay, no, not admin. I think I already have an admin user. So let me say testing at, then I enter my domain name. My domain name is quite long, so I'll just put what they put here to just to show us how it works. Then the first name of this user is test. The last name is, oh, Sarah. No, first name Sarah. Hi, Sarah. So Sarah test, and then I can put in the user's job title. So let me say analyst, right? Department, phone number, and all of that. So I can enter all this information basically, right? And I would follow the same way for the next 200 users or 50 users. Just enter all their data and save it, right? So Control S. Now I've saved that. we want to keep, yes, I want to keep using this format. So I've saved that, and then I come back to that page. Now, when you've worked on your CSV documents, everything is looking fine, and make sure that you take out the sample data before you upload, right? So it's now time to upload the document. You click on browse, and then you search for that particular file, right? You click on browse, you search for that particular file, and then upload. So this is it, import user sample. So I can select it, click on open, and then aha. So now you notice that first things first, my tenant does not have the domain name. I have in here says consorso.com, but my tenant, that's not the domain name that I have for this tenant. It's a different domain name I have, right? View errors. So it's a different domain name I have. So these are some of the errors it noticed. Display name Chris Green. The email address contains extra or invalid characters. Test, the email address contains extra or invalid characters. So the email address has consorso.com, and that domain is not registered in my environment, right? So definitely it will bring up error. But if I have entered the right details, it would go through smoothly to scan the document and say, oh, yes, this document is fine, and it will upload as required, right? So normally when you select the document, browse select, you click on next, then you can assign licenses to the users, as you can see in the next step. So licenses, and then you finish, right? Then it will give you the password. It will create custom passwords for each user. So it will give you the password, and you can now distribute to those users individually, or send it to HR, and HR would take care of that. So that's how you create multiple user accounts, right? Then yeah, so that's how you create multiple user accounts. Then we also have, still under users by the left hand side, we're looking at active users. You can create contacts in the organization. So contacts that you want to be universal contacts. Everybody in the organization should always have access to such people's details and stuff like that. You can create it here. You can create guest users. So maybe you're working with some contractors, and they need to be able to access some Microsoft 365 resources from time to time, right? So you can add them as guest users in your environment, or you even want them to be able to access to seamlessly have Microsoft Teams conversations with you. So you can add them as guest users as required. Then when you delete a user account, right? So for example, I do not, Alex has left the organization. We have backed up his data, and I want to delete his account. So now I delete his user account. It will ask me, okay, are you sure, and all of that. Do you want to transfer their data and all of that? So yeah, so this is what I wanted to mention. When you delete a user account, Microsoft 365 holds on to their data for 30 days, right? Now, the reason behind this is so that if within that 30 days you decide that we made a mistake, or we forgot to copy so and so information out before deleting this account, you can quickly restore or recover the user before their data gets wiped off, right? So you have 30 days to recover a user account. Now, also to mention, when a user is leaving an organization, right? Some people just tend to, okay, I want to create space. I want to free up a license, right? I do not want this user is no longer using this license. It's no longer in the organization, and I want to create a new user who needs this license, right? So we mentioned that you can remove licenses from an active user account, right? But when you remove that license, it means you can now use that license for someone else, and that user will no longer be able to access that particular service. Now, when you remove a license from a user that has data and all of that, you have 30 days, just like how when you delete a user, you have 30 days. You have 30 days to reassign a license to that user, right? If after that 30 days, no license is assigned, the user's data gets deleted. This even happened recently. An administrator reached out to me, we deleted the user account because they've left the organization. but now we've restored the account. No, sorry, we didn't delete. We removed the license to use for someone else. Now we want to get some emails out of that user's account, but we've given the user a license now, and then we can't find any email. What's going on? And I was like, how long ago did you remove the license from this user's account? And he now went, oh, okay, it's over a month already. I'm like, it's not possible to recover that, right? So it's something that you need to always bear in mind if you want to go the route of removing a license from an active user, and you know that you would always still require data from that account, then I would advise you do not do that. Instead, when a user has left the organization, okay, yes. So when a user leaves an organization, I think I mentioned this last week, you have three options of storing, three options of taking care of that sort of account. So a user has left an organization. Maybe the user has their emails on Outlook, the desktop application. You can export the emails, right? You can export the emails so that in the future, if anyone wants to reference it, you just maybe upload it to their system or what have you, right? And when you export, you can go ahead to delete the user's account. When you export and you confirm that your export is successful, you can go ahead to delete the user account. The second option is you can preserve the account by just renaming the user. So some organizations do this. If someone is leaving an organization and somebody else is coming in to cover that person's work job role, basically they will be doing the same thing that person was doing. Some people don't even bother creating a new account for the new person. They will just rename the old user's email address, right? They will rename the email address, rename the account name, and all of that. So the new user now will have access to all the emails that the old user had. And then the third option is you can convert that account to a shared mailbox. So when you convert an account to a shared mailbox, it no longer has a license assigned to it, but the email data is preserved. So to convert an account to a shared mailbox, okay, it used to be down here. Sorry, hold on. Welcome to mail. To open. Aha. So to convert an account to a shared mailbox, you come over, you open the user account, click on mail, and then you select convert to shared mailbox. So what this means is that the email data will still be stored. You can now even give access to that email data to the person's manager or the person's colleague, so that if they need to reference the emails at a future time, they can easily do that. Or and when you do that, when you convert to a shared mailbox, you now remove the license from that account. That license, now you can use that license to create a new user. Sorry, are we all following? I know this has been like a lengthy. Are we all following? I hope I'm not in this alone. Let me see if I have any questions so far. Hi, are we following? Are we together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I
All
have a
right.
question.
All right.
So when you say shared mailbox, what does that actually mean? Is it like a mailbox that several users can get access to? I think you mentioned something like that last week.
Yes, exactly. So that's exactly what it is. A shared mailbox is an account that several users can access, right? So those users can view the emails that are sent to that mailbox. They can even reply as the shared mailbox, right? So it applies in cases like this. I mentioned the scenario where you now create a shared mailbox. A user is leaving the organization. Members of their team still need to have access to the emails that user had. Maybe someone in customer service or what have you. Emails that go to people in customer service are quite crucial, and users will always keep sending that person an email because they think the person is still in the organization, right? So in that case, you can convert the user's email address or email account, sorry, to a shared mailbox. That way, you now give access to that shared mailbox to his team members. I would still show us how to okay, let me do this. Let me go ahead to convert this to a shared mailbox, right? So that you can now see how. So I come over to mail. Now Alex has left the organization. It's already confirmed he's not coming back, but he still keeps receiving emails. However, we need to free up a license because, of course, buying a new license is still money, right? So we go ahead to click on convert to shared mailbox. Now it gives you some, user impact information. FYI, shared mailboxes do not have passwords. So you cannot access, normally if you want to sign into your account, you open your email, sorry, you go to the site or you open the app on your phone and then you enter your email address and your password, right? Shared mailboxes do not have passwords. So I will show you how this works. So now I'm trying to convert Alex to a shared mailbox, right? So I click on convert. Now, when this is done, I would now add who can access the data within Alex's mailbox. So that will be, I can say, okay, I want Alex's manager to be able to send emails as him, right? Or to send on behalf of Alex. So if crucial customers are still sending Alex mails, then those people should be able to, reply on behalf of Alex, even though Alex has left the organization. Then they can probably even tell them that, oh, sorry, going forward, right, please route your request to this other person. Now I've converted Alex's account to a shared mailbox. I click on done. I click on done. Then I still click on Alex Wilbur. Right? I click on Alex Wilbur. His account is currently a shared mailbox. However, it does not automatically remove his license. Now, to remove his license, I just come back to licenses and apps, and then I'll deselect that particular license or the licenses assigned to him. Now, what just happened? These two were checked, right? And initially it said EMS, this plan, Enterprise Mobility Plus Security E5, 0 of 10 licenses available, right? But when I uncheck it, it now says 1 of 10 licenses available. So that means I can create a user and give that user this license I just freed up. Same thing applies for the E5 license he has. So I uncheck it and then it says 1 of 10 licenses available. So now Alex has 0 licenses assigned to him. I save changes. Yes, so my changes have been saved. Let me close this for now. We'll still come back. Now, under teams and groups, you can see this area that says shared mailboxes. So if I select shared mailboxes, I would see Alex's account here. So Alex Wilbur is stated as a shared mailbox, right? So I can select Alex, and now I can now say, okay, read and manage permissions. Who should have access to read emails within Alex's account? I can add such people from within the environment, right? And then I can add people that I want to be able to send on behalf of, send as Alex or send on behalf of Alex in here. So it's just like, it's similar. Anybody, outsiders would not know that something has changed, right? But people within the organization who have been given access to his account would know. Now, how do I access an account if an account that has been converted to a shared mailbox, right? So that area will still be covered under the exchange admin session we'll be having. I think maybe is it next week or upper week, but it will be covered. So there will now be an in-depth walkthrough of the experience of working with shared mailboxes. How can you add a shared mailbox, right? When an admin has given you permission to that shared mailbox, how can you access it and stuff like that? So we'll get to see all of that. But I don't know, do you have like a better understanding or a better understanding of shared mailboxes? Just a little bit more.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, all right then. All right, so we would proceed. Um, the next now I'm sure now you guys can see why I was saying it's really important that you set up a tenant and you get to actually test all of this, because this is not something that you just, if you're just reading about it and you don't have the hands-on experience, even if you are just playing around the environment, right, it can be really confusing. But when you have the hands-on, you know that you can break and fix things as you proceed. So yes, so that's how you manage users. Basically, that's how you create users, manage users from the admin center, right? Like I said, we would also look at how you can do all of these things that we've done so far using Powershell scripts. So scripts are an even faster way to get all the tasks done, especially when, for um, uploading multiple users, up to 249 users, you can do that at once right from the admin center. Now, what if you're working for an organization and they want you to create over 1,000 users at once, or over, let's not even go too over, right? Maybe over 500 users or over, what do you now do? Do that you have to upload it to like 2 different times and all that. No, you can use PowerShell scripts for that. It allows you more flexible than using the admin center only. So we'll look at how to connect PowerShell. So,
I think you're cutting out.
oh, you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Then I think the audio is distorted.
Is that the same for everyone? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's can I hear you, but I think it's cutting out on my end.
Is
There's
that the
this.
same for everybody?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Okay. Okay, just give me a moment, even. My, my Wi-Fi device is about to do that. Let me plug it in. I just plug it. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. All right. So, like I said, so we are done with the area of creating users and managing users. Now, how about groups, right? So, let's say we're trying to create a group for
Yes. We can.
okay, yeah, sorry about that. So let's say, of course, we've created, or in our environment, HR wants us to create a group for all staff, right? All staff at textilers.com, or want to create a group for support, want to create a group for, whatever group basically within the organization for info, right? So group accounts within Microsoft 365, they come with the tenants in the sense that um, they do not require licenses. To create a group account, you don't need a license. To create a shared mailbox, you do not need a license, right? These are accounts that do not need licenses. So to create a group, for example, you can have like one user in your tenant, but you can have multiple groups in there. So from that group, you can receive emails from various people and you are reading them from that's your one user account, right? So you have access to create multiple groups. So now to create a new group, you just come over to groups and then you see different options. So we have Microsoft 365 group, we have distribution list, mail enabled security group, and then a security group. So a Microsoft 365 group is a group that allows for collaboration. So this is like the type of group that is created when you have a team, when you create a team site and you add your team members, right? So that's the type of group that basically you have in there. So users in this group, they can chat together, they can make calls, they can have online meetings and all of that, like how we are all doing right now, because we've all been placed in a particular group, right? Distribution list, this is just an email. So an email like allstaff@textilers.com, right? The purpose of this distribution list is just to send emails. So you send an email to that account and it just distributes to everybody, and that's where it ends. We cannot collaborate using that group or what have you. Mail enabled security groups are security groups that you can send emails to. So security groups basically are groups that you can use when setting up policies within Microsoft 365, right? So you can set up various policies and then it will ask you, oh, what users do you want to apply this policy to, right? Then in that case, you will now select a security group within the environment, which you already created. So these are just the different options for groups within Microsoft 365. To add a new group, all you need to do is to click on add a group, and then you can enter the group details. So selecting the group type, is it a Microsoft 365 group? Is it a distribution list? Is it a security group, mail enabled or not, right? So you can select, let's say I wanted to create a distribution list only, and then I select next. Then you can enter your group name. So let me call this all staff, right? You can put a description if you want, else you can leave it as it is and click on next. Now enter your group email address. So all staff at your domain name.com. And then you can now select, oh, do you want people outside the organization to be able to send emails to this distribution group? How we usually see it in most organizations, they do not allow this, right? Only people within the organization can send emails to an all staff group, right? So, but if it were a group like, okay, maybe whistleblower, whistleblower at textilers.com, or something that you really need input from outsiders, then you can now allow people from outside the organization to send emails to that distribution group. So you click on next, and then it will now give you like the basic, it's really straightforward, right? Basic information, and then you can go ahead to create the group. Now, when you are creating a group, automatically you become like an admin of the group, right? So it says it can take up to an hour for a group to appear in your active groups list. But basically you can click here and then it will now take you to the section where you can enter the group members, who are the members of the group, who should be listed as an owner of the group, and so on and so forth, different group permissions. So let me click on this Exchange Admin Center just to quickly show us the different group permissions. So this is another admin center. This is the Exchange Admin Center. Everything in here is around managing mailboxes. It's around managing how emails flow within the Microsoft 365 environment, right? It can seem like a whole lot, but it's something that once you keep navigating around, you will definitely find your way, right? And you just get so used to it. So under recipients, I just come to groups. I want to see if the group I just created is already here. Now I have the all staff distribution list. Yes, this is it. So I double click to edit. So this is my all staff group. I can see the general information. If I click on ownership, yes, so it's, and this is the email I'm currently signed in with, the MOD administrator email, right? If I click on, I can add more owners to this group. So owners can remove members, can add members and all of that, right? But if I come over to membership, so currently we do not have any members in this group. So to add members, you just click on plus, and then you can select users from people within your organization. So I can select multiple users. To select, for example, Alex, I select Alex, I select Alan, I select Isaiah, and as I'm selecting them, you can see this box underneath. It's adding them under. So when I'm done selecting users, I just click on OK. And then you can even add other groups inside. So it's called nested group. So you can add other groups to a group so that anytime emails are sent to that parent group, it delivers in the subgroups basically. So that's why you can see groups like all, no, this is my all staff. So you can see groups like all users, yeah, all users in here, because this is also a distribution list. Let's see if there's any other group here. No, there is none. So you can add other distribution lists basically in there. And then when you're done, you just click on OK, and it shows you the members of your group. Now, membership approval. You can choose to make your group open, meaning that anybody in the organization can join the group without being approved. You can make it closed, or you can make it a group that requires owner approval. So meaning if users try to access the group, a request will first be sent to the owner of the group, or the owners as the case may be, and they have to approve before the users can join. Then we also have delivery management. So you can choose to, currently all groups that you create are set to allow emails from senders inside and outside the organization. Actually, not all. You can restrict from the moment you are creating a group initially, right? So you can set your restrictions from here. Oh, I only want senders inside my organization to send mails to this group, or I want people inside and outside my organization. You can set that here. Or you can even restrict it further by saying, I only want emails from people in this company to enter this group, right? So that helps in cases of, okay, people are receiving spam emails and all of that. So you can now restrict that, oh, only people from certain organizations or certain users or certain groups can send email to this group. Then you also have message approval. You can choose group moderators that, oh, if anyone wants to send an email to this group, it needs to be approved first, right? It needs to be approved first before it can be delivered to everyone, and so on and so forth. Then you also have group delegation. I don't know if you've ever received an email from support personnel whereby you send, take for example, now I renewed my DSTV subscription, right? And I noticed that, I got an error that, oh, my account is suspended. So I sent an email to the DSTV Nigeria team, right? I sent them an email, and someone reached out to me, and it says Sarah, and put her son name. Let's say Sarah on behalf of customer care at dstvnigeria.com, right? So in that case, I'm seeing that, oh, Sarah is sending me this email. Sarah is a member of DSTV Nigeria, right? So it's putting a personal touch. That is sending on behalf of. So for her to have been able to do that, they needed to register her email here and give her access to send mails on behalf of the group. Now, if the administrators in DSTV had decided that, oh, Sarah can send replies, right, to customers, but we do not want her name to show, right? We do not want it to say, oh, Sarah on behalf of. In that case, when I'm receiving a reply from DSTV, it just comes that, oh, customer care has responded and all of that, and I can follow the steps that they shared with me, right? And I don't see who sent that mail. So that is the send as. option. So this allows you to send, it allows a delegate to send email from the group, and the recipient does not see who sent the email, right? Unless maybe the external user has, like the other user has a different signature or what have you. But normally how it works is when you have send as permission, the recipients do not see that the email or the reply is coming from you. So those are like the basic administration settings for groups within Office 365, right? So any changes you make, you just click on save, and it immediately takes effect. So let me close this, leave. Yeah, going back to our admin center. So now that's how you manage groups, right? So from roles, I mentioned that, from roles, you can see the different roles within the organization. I think we already discussed about roles. You can see resources. So it's possible for you to create mailbox, email accounts for resources within your organization, right? Allowing users to book those resources down. Then if you scroll, okay, yes, then from reports, you can get a productivity report or a usage report, right? You are, as an administrator, it's not supposed to, like, you're supposed to be able to advise your users on how they are currently utilizing the platform, right? Areas that need to be adjusted, areas that need to be improved on. How many users are active on Microsoft Teams? How many users are active on email activity and all of that? So that, because at the end of the day, you want to show value for money spent, right? This is the value we are getting from Microsoft 365. These are the apps we have access to. These are the apps we need to better utilize. So you can see all that data from here under usage. Then if you come over to health, so under health, you get to see service health. So service health has to do with if there is any current issue with any of the Microsoft 365 apps, you get to see it under here, under service health. So and this is like a global issue. Most often, sometimes, like not most often, sometimes an issue might arise, and that issue is not just being faced by one user in one location. It's probably being faced by everyone worldwide, right? So as an administrator, while trying to troubleshoot what is wrong and why something is happening as it is, you can always come to this service health area and then see what's going on. So for example, under here, we have a reported incident. So this was updated on the 29th of September, and it says under Exchange Online, users can't add shared mailboxes via the Outlook mobile application, right? So if you click on it, you can now see more information with regards to that particular issue, right? And what's being done to resolve it. Has it been resolved and all of that? So that way you can now advise your users, oh, this is a global issue. Microsoft is currently working on it and all of that. Then you can also reach out to, you can reach out to support, Microsoft support from here, simply by clicking on the support option here, and then you can create a new service request or view your existing service request. Then, oh, sorry, hold on, let me pin this back. Pin. Yeah. Then underneath, you can see other admin centers. So access to the security center for security setup, compliance center, endpoint manager, Azure Active Directory, Exchange admin center, SharePoint admin center, Teams admin center, right? You can see other admin centers from here. So you can select any of them and it will take you to the centers to handle things that are particular to those apps, right? So that's really it for the admin center, like a basic introduction and how to get things done using the Office 365 admin center. Now, the next thing we'll be going into, I mentioned we'll be looking at how to use PowerShell scripts to do some of the basic things that we have mentioned so far, right? So let me open my slide. So good thing is that most of the scripts that we'll be using now are already on the Microsoft Teams file repository. I mentioned that you just go to files and then you go to course resources or what have you, and then you can see resources for day 2, which is today, right? So you will see some scripts that you can run personally once you have successfully set up your trial tenant using the steps in day 1, right? So you'll see scripts that you need to run, right, on PowerShell. So let me open this. Now, for you to be able to connect to Microsoft 365 tenant, let me present this so that you can see clearly. Now, jump to day 2. Okay, yes. So this is where I'm concerned with. So now what we are trying to do now is we want to connect to Microsoft 365 tenants using PowerShell, right? So this allows you to run scripts to get information quickly. For example, okay, you have a user in the environment, you want to find out, and you want to find out, oh, okay, what license this user has assigned, or reset the user's password, or even create a new user without having to go to the admin center to do it, right? How do you get it done? Using simple commands, right? So that's what we want to do now. So first step really is to install the Microsoft Azure Active Directory module for Windows PowerShell, and we'll see how we do that. So first of all, you open up PowerShell and you run this command, right? And then the system will prompt you, ask you certain questions, which you will now say yes, yes to, and then you would now have successfully connected to the tenant, to your Microsoft 365. Sorry, installed the necessary module you need. Then to connect to your tenant, you just click on connect this particular command, and it will ask you to enter your email address and your password. And once you do that, you have successfully connected to your tenant. So enough talking. Let me just show us how it works. My device is a Windows 10 device, right? So I just come here and then I type into the search box. I type in Windows PowerShell. So now you can see PowerShell over here. Now to run PowerShell, normally, you have an app, you just click on it and then it opens. But you need to run, for you to carry out the admin options, right, for your Microsoft 365 tenant, you need to run PowerShell as an administrator. So when I select PowerShell, I click on run as administrator, or you just right click it and then say run as administrator, any of the option that works for you. So I've done that, run as administrator. It should open any moment now. So it's asking me to confirm that I want the app to make changes. So yes, I've done that. So it should open up. Yeah, it's opening. So this part of managing Microsoft 365 will actually make you feel like a programmer, right? But in the real sense, you're not writing hard codes and all of that. You're just using existing scripts to make certain changes. But like I said, you need to have access to the correct code, right? To a layman, someone seeing you doing all of this will think, oh, this person is a deep coder, right? So that's the area we're getting
Hello.
to now. Yes, please.
Sorry, I've been calling your attention since
Oh, I am so sorry.
my device was suddenly shut down, so I missed some parts. But I wanted to ask a question before it shut down. I just
Okay.
came up again sometime before you entered the PowerShell. I came up when you were talking about the Outlook, the email of it. I wanted to ask what are the difference there between the E1, E3, and E5 of the team, because I'm convinced about those particular aspects.
Okay, the E1, E3, and E5 plans.
E5. Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, like I said, all plans within Microsoft 365 have different apps and services tied to them, right?
No.
So the E plans are all enterprise plans, basically, right? The E3, for example, has certain features that E1 does not have. And E5 also has certain features that E3 or E1 does not do not have, right? So, but let me to give you more clarity, let me just open up the enterprise Microsoft
Which
365.
means that E1, E5 is greater than E3 is greater than E1, E5 is greater than E3.
Yes, but it all depends on. So let me show you what the features that each of these plans come with, right? And then so now it
Sorry,
depends on what the
sorry for drawing you
organization.
back.
No problem. It depends on what the organization wants to achieve, really. So it's just different plans with different features, but they are all enterprise.
Like for example, sorry for cutting you short. Like
No
for example,
problem.
now in my own organization,
Mm-hmm.
we have some users. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, can you? Like in my own organization, for example, we have some users that their Office 365 migration, their Office 365 that license that was given to them, they can only operate on online Outlook, which is office.com.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot operate on desktop Office 365 Outlook.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Why some can operate on Office 365 Outlook fully, but cannot operate on online like that. Sometimes if my my senior colleague asked me to go and join them to Office 365, and sometimes I'll be convinced, thinking that anybody that is being joined to Office 365 is using complete desktop Outlook Office 365. We have complete activation access, but sometimes it's not
Yeah, that's not always the case.
it's not the way I think it. I'll find out that there's limits to Office 365 for some users. Some users have better access than some users. So I want to just expatiate a little. That's why.
Yeah, so basically you've basically highlighted for yourself. Yeah, I can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So yes, like like we mentioned last week, Office 365 has different plans, right? Now, for one reason or the other, based on some organizations, it's even because of cost, right? They can choose to
Yes.
purchase a license that only allows certain users to access email online, right? That's like the kiosk plan. The kiosk plan, users can send and receive emails and all of that, but they cannot set up that email account on the Outlook desktop application, right? So users can have exchange. Sorry, I said exchange online. They can have Microsoft 365 Business Basic, right? Business Basic allows them to they can set up their Outlook, their email, sorry, on Outlook desktop. They can access their emails online and all of that. They have 50 gig mailbox, but they cannot install Office. So there are different plans. There are basically different plans. Same thing applies, even the enterprise plans too. All of them differ, right? Some can have certain security features, others will not have it, and so on and so forth, right? So, but the good thing is that when you have any if you have any questions with regards to licensing on Microsoft 365, it's usually just a browser search away, right? You can just type in, oh, okay, I want to see the licenses available for Microsoft 365 Business, right? You get to see all that information, the features that are covered by each of those plans, and the prices.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir, you're welcome, sir. Okay, so let me go back to we're looking at our PowerShell scripts. Yes, so this is the Windows PowerShell platform, right? So let me just open it up. Now, to the first step, like I said, when let's say for users that are just setting this up initially, first things first, of course, you need to have already set up your trial account, right? You should have your trial account up and running. So now you want to take, for example, want to create a user or want to create multiple users. So first things first, we need to install the required module so that PowerShell can easily download it as required. So in here, I have some of that. So first things first, I just put in, okay, All right, let me just type it. So I have the script in here so that we can try it out later online. Install MS Online. And then hit enter. So this is you instructing the system to oh, sorry, install module MS Online. Yeah. So this is you instructing the system to connect to the internet and install the necessary modules that you will need going forward from the Microsoft Azure Active Directory. So it's trying to get feedback. That's why there's a bit of lag. So very soon it will just give us like some disclaimers and some warning that, oh yeah, do you want to install all the, oh yes, sorry, I already installed it previously. So usually when you enter install module MS Online, right, it will pop up some options that, oh, do you want to install all the modules? Then you click on select Y for yes or N for no, and so on and so forth. So you go ahead to select Y for yes, right? It will bring up another option prompting you to install the module from PS Gallery. Type Y for yes and press enter, right? So you just follow the instructions basically. And when it has successfully installed, then it will come back to, looking like this. I already installed this module because this is something I use often, right? So because of that, it didn't bring up anything because I have the necessary modules I need to go forward, right? So the next step now is for me to connect to my Microsoft 365 tenant. To do this, I select connect. Let me be sure I'm typing in the right thing. Okay. Connect MSO service. Hit enter. Now it would open a new window and ask me to sign in. To open a new window asking me to sign into my Microsoft 365 environment. That's what's happening now. Yes, so let me type in my email address. Sorry, my email address is really long, so that's the email address for my trial account. Let me open it up. Where do I have that password stored? Okay, yes, admin at m365 x 462094.onlinemicrosoft.com. And then I enter my password. Enter. So now, to know it was successful, it will bring up this again, giving you aha. So I've logged in successfully, right? So that's like the basic step to log in. At this point now, I can run commands to create new users, to create new groups, to reset user passwords, and so on and so forth, right? So those are just the first steps, and that's taking care of this first area that says connect to Microsoft 365 tenant with PowerShell. So now the next step now is for us to create a user account using PowerShell, right? For us to create a user account using PowerShell. Now, first of all, for you to, let me present this page so that we can see it clearly, because I know it will be really small if you don't. Oh, why do I keep presenting from the beginning? Yeah. So create a user account using PowerShell. It looks like a lot, but like I said earlier, the good thing is that the syntax you actually need, everything is in here, right? So all you need to do now is to edit it, enter your own test or sample data, and see that it works, right? And if you now want to use it in your live environment, you know that, oh yes, I've tested this in my tenant before, and this is how it works, right? So once you successfully connect to the Microsoft Azure Active Directory module, then the next step is for you to create your new user, right? But for you to create your new user, this is the syntax to be used. New hyphen msol user, blah, blah. Basically, I just copy this into like a notepad and then I edit it. So what are the areas that you need to edit? You need to enter the display name. First of all, you need to put in a display name. You need to put in the first name. You need to put in the last name, the user principal name, the user location, and the license assignment. So this is important. License assignment, it says licensing plan name. So how do you know the licensing plan name? Is it that you just write E3 or E5 or something? So now under here, we have an example. For example, this is something that is already edited, right? So I can copy and paste this. This is new MSO user, display name, Caleb Seals, first name, Caleb, last name, Seals, blah, blah, blah. And then under license assignment, you can see the format it uses. Contorso, then enterprise pack. So this is the license this user has that I want to assign to this user. Well, how do I know? There are different, like we said, there are different plans in Microsoft 365. In fact, many people might not even know what the license pack plan stands for, right? So how do you know the licenses that you have in your environment? To do that, first of all, you run this command, which is why I put it as the first step. First, you get a list of the available licenses in your environment by running this command, right? So when you now see the licenses in your environment that are available, then you would now be able to create your user and assign them a free license. So let me go back to our PowerShell window. So now I want to see the licenses that we have available. Get MSO account SKU. So this will give us a list of licenses in our environment. So you see the system has returned this value, account SKU ID. These are the different licenses. Those licenses you were seeing when we were on the admin center that was showing us, oh, you have E3 plan, you have F3 plan, you have Windows 10 plan, and so on and so forth. This is what the SKU IDs look like, right? So it goes the format of enters your domain name, then puts the plan name beside it. And then you can see the number of active units, the number of warning units, number of consumed units. So I can see that, oh, that means I have an EMS premium plan. I have one EMS premium plan free. I have one enterprise premium plan free, because since I have used 9, I still have 10. Sorry, I have 10 in total. I've used 9, meaning I have 1 available. For enterprise pack, I do not have any available because I bought 2 and I've used up 2, right? For Dexter's pack, I have 2 and I've not used any. So you can see your plans here clearly, right? So now that we have that out of the way, we know that, okay, if we are creating any user, we can easily just select a particular or the right plan that works for them, right? Because of this information we have here. So now we want to create the user. So let's copy this syntax for creating a new user. Let's copy it out. And all we will need to do is to edit the syntax, the existing syntax, and then run it as required. So I copied this. Now, like I said, I always like to use Notepad. So I open my Notepad and I'll paste it into my Notepad. So I paste this into my Notepad. Now I can edit the information. New MSO user display name. Let me change this display name. So I'm going to call this user Hapsat, Hapsat text, right? So I'm saying this is the display name, right? Call this user Hapsat text. The first name is Hapsat. The last name is text. User principal name. Now I'm going to change this to be in a format that is for my environment, right? So let's say we want to use first name, last name, so just initials. Hashtag tag, that's HF, HT, sorry, at enter my domain name, M365. Sorry, my tenant's name is quite long, so that's what you get for using a trial environment. But on Microsoft.com. Yeah. Then usage location, I can leave it as it is. So the user is in the US. And then now license assignment, right? At this point, of course, this is not, I need to change this. So at this point, I will go back to the results that I got from here, and I can pick which of the plans I want to assign to after there. So let me assign this enterprise premium plan. So I just copy it and then come here and see. So I come here. Now you see it has changed it to enterprise premium. And then what password do I want to give to after? So password, I think this is fine. New user 2021 as the initial password. After can now change the password when she logs in. So I will copy all of this and then come back to the PowerShell and paste. Right. So everything is looking fine. I hit enter. Beautiful. Now you see this. It has successfully created the user. Right. Password is new user 2021. User principal name. This is the user's email address. That's what it means by principal name. This is the user's display name. Does the user have a license? True. Right. Now, how do you know that this went through successfully? Even though yes, the system has returned this value to you, you can go back to the admin center. Right. So we can go back to the admin center, go to users, active users, and refresh. Okay, refresh and let's see if we can find hashtag here. Voila, we have hashtag in here. I hope you can see this. So we have hashtag in here. Yes. So just as we created the email address, HP at domain name, come to license, you see that she has the premium plan assigned to her. Let's go down. Okay, yeah, it was P5. Oh, okay. So you know the SKUs are different from I selected enterprise premium, yes. So that's true. So E5 is the enterprise premium plan. So she has enterprise premium plan assigned to her and so on and so forth. So you can see that that script works immediately, right? We didn't have to wait for 5 minutes or 10 minutes for it to take effect. It took effect immediately. Now, that was for one user. Let's celebrate our small wins. Yay, it worked. What if we now want to create more users, right? Is it is it that we have to start creating spaces? Like how do we do this? That we create multiple users right from PowerShell. Do we need to create new lines for each user? That's not the most effective or efficient way to work. So how do we get this done? That's where you now come to the next slide. So our next slide here tells us how you can create multiple. Why did I keep on doing this? How you can create multiple user accounts using PowerShell, right? So when you want to, maybe you're trying to create 300 new users using PowerShell. First things first, similar to how you create multiple users in the admin center, you need to create a CSV file. Right. Remember in the admin center when we looked at that, we have to download a file from the system, enter details in that file and upload it back. So it's basically similarly the same thing, basically the same thing that you'll be doing, right? So you create a CSV file that contains the required user account information. So this will be the headers of the CSV file. User principal name, the first name, the last name, the display name, the usage location, and the account SKU. Right. So, and when you've done that, when you've created the CSV file, you would now come and then this is the syntax for you to enter into PowerShell. You copy the syntax, edit it, enter your file location. The CSV file, you save it to a location in your system, right? So when you're now working with the PowerShell script, let me take this out so that it's not theoretical. We're actually seeing how it works. Let me just copy this and then bring it to my notepad. Yes. So now, this is the syntax for creating multiple users, right? So import -csv, right? Then you enter the path. So this file, maybe the file is stored in my C drive under my document. How you can get, and for those of us that are not very familiar with how to get your file path, basically what this path that is listed, that is specified here, what it is this. So let me come to File Explorer. Let me come to Downloads. Aha, so this file, for example, right, you know, this was the CSV file I downloaded earlier. So now this is already a CSV file. To get the path, I just click on this is under downloads. Sorry, a moment, please. Okay. Okay, in that case, so you can create your own paths. You can come over to C drive and then you can create a new folder and name it like oops, sorry. Create a new folder, name it scripts, right? Scripts. Now I have the scripts folder. Let me move that particular CSV file to that scripts folder. Let me just cut it. It's in C drive. So under scripts, I'll paste it in there. Continue. So trying to move it in here. Yes. So now I have this CSV in this location inside this folder. To get the path, I can see it now. So I have C, / scripts, and then I can now put another / and write the name of the document. So the name of my document is, you can see it's even giving me the option here. So I select it. So now this is your file path, right? So you can copy this file path and change what you have here. So I change it here. So now I'm telling the system to go to this location on my computer. And then, I've entered, the system is assuming that I have entered all the details. I've entered my username, I've saved the first name, last name, all the details I need. So now I'm now telling the system that for each new user, blah, 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 that it should create all the accounts that I have specified in that CSV document, right? And then just go ahead to create those accounts, basically. So let me do this. Let me just go ahead to edit this document so that we would actually run this script and see that it goes ahead to create all the accounts that I'll put in there. So I want to be sure that I enter the right items in the CSV. In the meantime, can we all just drop our first names in the chat box? Because I'll be using our names to create this account I want to create. Just drop your first name in the chat box. So I'm creating my CSV. First will be user principal name. Mind you, I'm not typing this off head. I'm using the instruction that was shared, right? So I'm just usage location, then account SKU ID. Now I have all of that. I can now put in my details. So user principal name is user's email address. So let me see. Okay, so we have Damilola. Please, everyone, I hope we are still together. Please drop your first name in the chat box. I'm trying to create multiple users using PowerShell script. So just drop your first name in the chat box. The faster we do this, the faster we can round up today's class. Like everyone has gone for a water break. Okay, let me just go ahead to create videos I can see. So we have Damilola, we have Obina, we have Ikoro. So I'll just go ahead and create. I think I already created an account for Hafsat, so no need to put Hafsat in there again. So Damilola, I'll enter the email address later. So first name Damilola, and then last name, I'll just give everyone the same last name, Tech. Damilola Tech. Usage location, I'm saying you're in US, even if you're not in US. Account SKU ID. So I want to assign a license to you. So let's see, I have free flow licenses. So I think I can create as many users with that as I want. So I hope we're all together.
Yes.
Yes, we are, even though it's getting even confusing.
It's getting confusing, Abby.
Yes.
I'm so
Because
sorry.
it's getting
It's getting more
because
technical.
it's getting tougher.
Yeah,
Not
it's
getting more technical.
more
When you get to
technical.
PowerShare, that is where I fear more. That's what I fear most. PowerShare.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that it's not even hard. You know, that's why, like, this is you start to see more reasons why I said really try to create that trial tenant, right? Because it's when you now start doing these things yourself, you try to connect, it doesn't connect, and you're like, why is it not working? What am I doing wrong? Right? You just keep trying, and before you know it, it's now something that just flows easily. So it's not actually technical. It's just for you to now just
It can be frustrating sometimes.
It can be frustrating, actually. It can be frustrating because if you should miss one word or one line, it will just be bringing errors, and you're like, what did I do wrong? Right? But it can be really fulfilling when you get it right. So okay, so what I was trying to do really is to create a file, right? Well, basically what I was trying to do is to create a file and then upload that file using PowerShell, right? You know, the same way from, you remember earlier, we created we downloaded a file from this portal. When we wanted to upload or to add multiple users, we downloaded a file from this portal and we just entered all the details manually and then just came to this portal, click on upload, and then, you know, everything just went through successfully. But this one now is, how can you do it using script, right? So the script option is there for people who want to, because adding multiple users from the portal alone has a limit. You can only create, or you can only add 249 users at once, like in one sitting, right? But with PowerShell script, that limit is not there. You can create as many users as possible, right? So that's why the PowerShell option is there. There are also some things that from the admin center you can't easily find, some information you can't easily find from the admin center. But if you have the right PowerShell script, you just need to connect to your tenants and then you run that script and it will get you the information immediately. So that's the real reason why we use PowerShell script, right? But did you get the part where we created a single user? Did everyone get that part where we created a single user using PowerShell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what? All right, that's great. So you know what we'll do? We're already out of time, right? I think it's already past 6. So what we'll do is I will round up the class, right? Actually, basically we've touched up on everything that we need to. So I'll round up the class and I'll really love for us to go through the resources I mentioned are in the team site, are in this team site. So let me open it for those of us that might have not noticed that it was even there. So if you go back to Microsoft Teams,
We would like you to share your slide with us also.
Okay, I will upload the slide in this course exercises.
You said?
I said I will upload the slide. So can you see my screen?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can everybody confirm that you can see this?
Yes.
Okay. Can you if you how did you log into this call? Were you able to access a page like this where you saw posts and you saw all the chats in there? Were you able to access a page like this, like the one I'm showing you right now?
Yes, I can access it. I can access it separately.
Okay.
I don't know how we got to this place. So
Okay, so from our meeting, by your left-hand side, if you how did you join this call? Did you just click on a link and then it opens the call, or you open Microsoft Teams first?
I sign into Microsoft. For me,
from
I
a
sign
link.
into Microsoft Teams.
Okay. Is that the same for you? Sorry, I didn't know
From the
what.
link.
Okay,
I
from the
used the
link.
link from the email. Yes.
Okay, the link from the email. Okay, that's probably why you can't see this Teams page, right? So you need to sign in to Microsoft Teams.
With your
When
with your Gmail that you used to sign you used
sign
to
up,
register and password. So you will see the event that you have done inside your Teams.
Okay.
did,
Thank you.
did you get that? Did you understand that?
Yes, but I think I will need a link to the Microsoft Teams so that I'll be able to sign in.
Yeah, let me. So just go to teams.microsoft.com, right? You can do that maybe after the call. Just go to teams.microsoft.com and then click on sign in. So when you have to sign in, enter the email address that you used to register for this that you've been using basically to join our meetings, right? So enter the email address, enter your password. When you do that, it will bring you to this page, to a page like this where you see teams. You can see your team, right? You can see this modern workplace team. This is actually where this meeting we are hosting now. This meeting is sitting in this virtual classroom, right? So you will see posts, and then beside posts, you will see files. So inside files, you will see course exercises. So I really love for everyone to go to these course exercises, review what we had for day 1, and also review what we have for day 2. I will upload the slide in here. So you can always, when you sign in successfully, you can always review my slides from here, right? And other information going forward will be inside this course exercises folder. So I would really love for us to practice. Just try something out. Is that fine?
We'll try our best. Yes.
Okay. Only Mr. Joseph is concurring. Do we all? Is everyone else?
Sure, I'll work on that.
Okay. Okay. All right then. So really we've covered the activity for today, right? So today we've been able to see how we can
It's a whole
manage.
lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. So you can watch the recording. In case you got lost at any point, you can watch
It's
the recording.
Yeah,
yes.
Right.
yeah. I really enjoy it.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Mr. Joseph. So you can watch the recording, you can go through the class materials and practice, 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 practice. The PowerShell area seems technical, but once you try your
Yeah.
hands on it, at least just try a basic stuff like just creating a new user, right? You would now see
Okay.
other options like maybe adding a user to a group and all of that. Everything is in the course exercise for day 2. So
Okay.
you'll see other scripts in there.
Okay.
Don't
All
forget to
right
help
then.
us to don't forget to help us to include the slide and the
Yes, I will upload the slide
and
now.
and the record and the record.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. All right then.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you all
We
so
really
very
appreciate.
much.
God bless you.
Thank
Have a
God
you.
bless
wonderful
you
Thank
weekend.
too.
you.
And you too. So
Yeah.
next week you'll be having another instructor. I think it will be
Thank
Sneha.
you.
Thank you. There'll be
Okay.
another
You mean
instructor.
another instructor?
Yes, but
Next
it
week,
will be
Abby.
this same meeting room. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And no, Allah. We really appreciate.
All right then. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.